HR professionals are used to getting asked the same questions over and over. And this is rampant throughout HR as just a team. They have a lot of questions from different employees that are repetitive, but they can't just refer them to the documentation because that's not how you get happy employees. So today we're going to be talking about an HR operations chatbot and what that looks like and some of the headaches that it solves for HR professionals. So HR teams are drowning in a lot of questions, right? Where do I find the PTO request form? What's the dress code? How do I update my direct deposit? And a lot of these times it's basic walkthrough things that are repetitive and often copy paste. So there's lots of information that have been developed by different companies, right? The information exists somewhere, usually in a handbook, an internal knowledge base or intranet, and the employees just don't have it bookmarked immediately available. And so they go to what's easiest, which is just asking somebody who knows, which is HR. So with an HR assistant or an HR operations chatbot, it's going to live where your employees already work. So for example, Slack or Microsoft Teams. So you build this so that it is living where your employees live and they have immediate access just like they would to any HR professional. So what this is it's trained on your company's actual policies, right? It's trained on all of your company's internal policies, procedures, and internal documentation. And then it lives in these tools and can answer questions really, really fast. So it doesn't replace an HR team. It just saves a lot of those redundant, boring questions so that your HR team can work on the fun stuff, right? Building company culture and making sure that the people that you're hiring are the right people. A lot of these questions, they don't need to have human interaction, right? You can have a chatbot searching the documentation and giving relevant and contextual answers with the right sources, pointing them in the right direction, saying, here's your answer, and here's where I found it if you want to learn more. So let's dive into these three problems, right? So you have these policy and procedure questions that should have been known by the employee or should have been taught to them during onboarding, employee handbooks. Onboarding operations is a part of that, and that can be a huge task for HR staff, right? Especially if you don't have it synced up where you're onboarding a significant number of employees and doing it all at once. They're just coming in piecemeal. That can take up a lot of time as they're answering a lot of questions and providing a lot of training. Managing leave and time off can also result in a lot of strain because every employee should be taking vacation if they have vacation days, or maybe you don't have vacation days and they just need time off. Answering that, going and looking it up for them can take up a lot of time. It's just a hassle. And so these three things can all be really easily taken over by an HR operations chatbot. So that question of where do I find or what is this, right? It's a question that never stops and can be handled by AI. The real cost isn't just time, right? If you have HR trying to build company culture, they have to switch gears every time somebody sends them a message. It's causing interruption and slowdowns because your end goal is to make employees happy and productive and good contributors to your organization. And you can't do that if you're just answering basic questions. Although that's really important that those questions get answered, it's also important that you focus on those other duties as well. So what employees actually need is a single trustworthy source for current policies, fast, basically instant answers without having to wait days for a response at any time of day, right? Could be 10 p.m. And the ability to ask in plain language, not just like searching documents and trying to find the right one. So with AI, you can turn your policy library into an instant answer engine. And what do we mean by that? So an employee asks a question, what's the reimbursement limit for client dinners? And the chatbot, knowing your documentation and the policies, shows exactly per the current expense policy, updated this day, client entertainment meals are reimbursable up to this amount. And here's the submission form, right? So not only is it giving you the right answers, but it's also providing context. Hey, this changed recently, so it might be different than you remember. Receipts are required. Here's the submission form, and it's just right there, and they don't have to go searching through the documentation. Instead of HR having to go to their file system, it's immediate and accurate. The other cool thing about this is employees can ask questions to a chatbot any time of day. It could be 11 p.m. Maybe they're in a different time zone on a business trip and they have questions, and your HR staff is on the other side of the planet and they're asleep. They can get those answers fast and accurate, exactly what it says in the documentation, even if they're on their phone. They don't necessarily need to be at a computer to search the documents. They can just send a quick message and get the response fast. So onboarding isn't just a single event that happens in one day, right? It's a weeks-long sequence using multiple different departments, including HR, IT, that employee-specific manager, and the new hire. There's so many metrics out there on how much it costs to onboard a new employee. And the goal is to limit what that cost is and get that employee up to maximum productivity of one of your long-term employees. One of the barriers is maybe they're not comfortable with their HR staff quite yet. They haven't built the relationship of trust. Having a chatbot can give these new hires a place to ask questions without judgment and feel comfortable to really understand it and have all their questions answered without feeling like a pest. For example, if you start a new job and you have 100 questions running in your brain, it can be hard to pull someone away and ask them all these questions. With AI, they can ask all those questions and it's not bugging anybody. It's probably really encouraged. Not only is this saving the new hire time, but it's also saving HR, IT, and managers when they're onboarding. This takes up so much of their time and mental energy trying to train someone on the things that they know. So this removes that lost feeling that new employees feel where they're kind of wandering around for the first couple of weeks. They have something that they can ask questions to. Obviously, this is part of onboarding. You train them. Here's where you can go for answers. But once they get there and that loop is trained, they now have a place that they can get answers very quickly. So this onboarding assistant idea, right? Day one, you give them their first week schedule, the training portal login, a couple things to complete today. And then as things go, that first week schedule, that training portal and access to this chatbot is in day one. By day 5, they have this reminder from the chatbot like, hey, you need to enroll soon in your benefits. Here's the available plans and the enrollment link. After 2 weeks, now it's checking in. Hey, are you complete with your training? It knows you haven't completed 2 of the 4 compliance training modules. Day 30, this is when the chatbot can say, okay, your probationary period is over. Here's what's coming up, and you're going to have a check-in with your manager. And so it can check through these things as long as it's integrated well with your systems. And that's kind of important. Every company has systems, whether they are using them well or not. AI can integrate with almost all of these systems. If not, you can set up custom things to integrate well with these systems and read them, analyze them, and provide contextual answers. So leave, parental leave, sick leave, vacation, whatever. These questions are usually pretty simple, but also they're not, because let's say I ask how many days of leave I have left instead of going through the portal that has that information. Because honestly, how often are your employees remembering that they have access? Is it bookmarked? That sort of thing. But instead of just asking the HR staff, oh, well, how many vacation days do I have? The chatbot has access to the information, pulls it up immediately, knows who it's talking to, and provides this answer. You currently have 12 PTO days remaining. Your next accrual of 1.5 days is on May 1st, right? So now if someone were to ask a question that may be a little bit more intense and something a chatbot can't handle, for example, extended family medical leave, it might give some recommendations and then suggest, hey, this is something we really need to loop HR in on. I mean, you can configure this in many different ways, but basically it can set up a triggering system. This is a conversation that really should be had with a person, because this is 3 months of your time that could be gone, or it's sensitive. It can hand it off to HR professionals for those times when they are needed. What HR looks like when operations are handled well. 70, 80, 90% of questions resolved by AI in seconds, very fast response time, and extremely accurate. You are going to have so much more time freed up to accomplish the end goal for HR. These questions have to be answered. If you want your employees to be happy and confident in you as an organization, these questions have to be answered. If they're answered by AI in an accurate way that you're confident in, even better, because now you have more time to accomplish the other goals that your organization has inside of the larger organization. And there's something I want to clarify here. We're not trying to replace humans with chatbots, right? We're trying to free up human time so that they can accomplish better things than answering frequently asked questions. This is not about taking out empathy. This is about answering this burning question. Where's the PTO form for the 40th time this month? It's freeing up frequently asked questions, making it easy and accessible. If you want to see what this looks like for your team, we'd love to have a chat. There's lots of different tools out there, but we build these custom bots for people. So check us out, botaudible.ai, and we'd love to help free up your time for bigger and better things than answering basic questions.